To go live and hello. Hi. Hi to you.
Hi.
Hi to you. Hi to you. Hi to you. And you and you and you and you and you and you and everyone else that has taken the time out to join us on the human experience. My name is Himyo, aka at True Him. And I welcome you for taking time out of your day to want to be a part of the human experience where someone will be asked 7 questions to help them compassionately express themselves so that you, the viewer, is able to experience that person's compassion. And that is why we welcome you here today. It has been definitely one of those trying mornings. For me personally, it was one of great news, seeking to find closure, seeking to develop and further a relationship or rekindle a relationship or however that goes. But that was what my morning was filled with, and it has me running behind schedule, and for that I apologize. And say to my guests, to you, those that were waiting to be here at 2 p.m., hanging on the edge of the cliff to hear this week's human experience, I apologize for being late. And so, with that being said, we have the great pleasure this particular week to have our first female guest.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and I met this young lady about maybe 3 or 4 years
Almost
ago.
4 years. It'll be 4 years in June.
Okay, about 4 years ago, and I had the honor of seeing one of my friends who I went to school with uh, be casted in one of her plays and see this awesome performance. And so this week we have Crescent McLaurin, who is a writer, director, producer with credits in film and stage production. 7 of her plays for children were produced at the Wilshire Able Theater, and her company her company, Good Riddance. That's actually a really great name for you, Crescent. Good
Thank you.
Riddance, yes, has produced and sold out productions of her original play, Six Letters in Harlem, in 2012. And Six Letters in Harlem is actually the play that my friend Ozzy Rains was casted in, and that is how I had the pleasure to meet this phenom of a writer by the name of Crescent McLaurin. Welcome, 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 welcome,
Okay,
welcome, welcome.
okay. Thank you. Well, first, can I say I'm Crescent. There's no McGlone.
Okay, you
Yeah,
are Crescent.
I'm Crescent. I'm Crescent. That's my one and only name. I'm in the one name posse, like Cher, Madonna, Prince. I'm up in there.
Him, yo.
Oh, him, yo. Okay.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure, for sure. Okay, then I will continue this by just calling you just Crescent.
Please.
Just Crescent. You are welcome for that, ma'am. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. You got me tech savvy up in here.
Okay, okay. I mean, it's either evolve or die. You know what I mean? That's the way the world
Exactly. It was so frustrating, but then it was just light at the end of the tunnel. Now I can see you, you can see me, and now I can do this all the time.
Yeah, see, so I think, what I'm hearing from you is a thank you, Himyo, for putting me through an experience that has helped me to evolve in a manner that is going to let me interact with people in a new medium. That's what
And
I'm
be
hearing.
even better at the human experience because now we can interact. We still on the human experience.
That's
So
that's what
yeah,
I'm talking
thank
about, girl.
you, Himyo. Thank
You
you.
are welcome. You are welcome. So, introduce yourself even more to the people. Let them know where you're from, what you've done, how are you, and all that good stuff. Let people into the world of Crescent.
Into the world of Crescent. Like, well, I'm from Seattle. I've been in LA for a long time. My background's in education. I've done a lot with arts, community education. I've been a trainer, facilitator, taught life skills to foster youth. And through all that time, like I said, I wrote 7 original plays for a wonderful charter school. I had the great opportunity to be a part of, and it was a all African American school, so they had a need for a way for them to learn about themselves through their own words. And so I was able to become a writer for them for 7 wonderful years. And through that, I found myself as a writer. I came out here for television and film. Little did I know I ended up being a playwright and lover of theater. So here I am right now. I got sidetracked a little bit with the whole pay your bills things. That is very important. It's very important. But I think as an artist, it's time for me to circle back to what I said I wanted to do. So that's where I'm at. I'm kind of like a free bird again. And I am just like, okay, I have to be back to writing all the time and being creative all the time and making art no matter what. So that's where I am right now.
Awesome. And I guess that actually is a perfect segue to the first question that will help people experience the artist that is Crescent. And that first question is, what do you trust more, your heart or your brain?
Wow, that was a big one. Wow, okay, let me think. Um Honestly, I guess it's not that hard. It's my heart. It's my heart. I trust my heart the most. I think your heart is I mean, and then when we think about heart, like, a heart is a heart. So you're talking about that's a muscle. You know what I mean? So we're talking about something intuitive, like maybe not intellectual and more emotional or spiritual. Are you going there with it?
Well, that's not a question for me to particularly answer. Yes, I do have an answer on it, but it's for you to express. So it's not meant to lead you any other way than the expression of your truth.
Okay. Well, then my truth is definitely more intuitive, more passionate, more present, and more emotional, definitely on those terms. So, yeah, I think I trust my heart the most.
Okay, that's awesome. And without that heart, or I would should say, with that heart is something that I was able to experience in Six Letters from Harlem, and I definitely was able to witness your heart, which had me in tune to the being that you are, and wanted to do whatever I can to help you in that endeavor and getting that seen by more individuals and people, and continue that expression. So uh, just moving on to the next part of that, so you trust your heart, and then that would lead me to ask, is it better to have beauty or be beautiful?
You're asking these deep questions. You said, is it better?
To have
Hmm.
beauty or be beautiful?
I guess that's obvious. Every time I think about it, at first when I hear it, I wanna like think about it in a certain way, but it's obvious to have beauty. I mean, being beautiful, like you're just talking about. I was just thinking about what are those pillars, and one of them was being visually appealing, and that doesn't necessarily mean beautiful, but just something where the way that you look attracts attention and therefore gets you in certain doors or gets you around certain people, does certain things for you. So I do think beauty is important, or it's important to the human race. It's important to the species, like the peacock with this when he lets out all his feathers, is to be more beautiful, to be more powerful, or whatever. But if you're gonna ask me what's better, then what's better is definitely to have beauty, I believe.
Okay, that's cool to have beauty. Um, well, I think through the way that you explained it, um, when you talk about having and being, right? Because that question, at the root of that question, is about having something and being something. And just because you have something does not mean that you are fully using it or utilizing it in the most effective manner. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you're being something, that means that in its totality, that is what you are exuding, that is who you are, that is your action that you are
Mm-hmm.
taking. And
Mm-hmm.
so so coming and hearing your explanation of that, I heard you mentioning being a lot when you talk about having and being. And so you are right. As a species, we definitely have this beauty to be seen by the world, and I think a lot of the problems in the world have to do with people not being beautiful. Um, and so, how has having and being, how has that played out in your life when it comes to beauty? If you'd elaborate a little more on that.
Hmm. It's so interesting because I am a Gemini and I'm not two
Oh, you
faced.
two-faced it, Mickey.
No, I'm not two faced, but I
Two
do have
faces of beauty, huh?
two faces. And I think what that means is like I see really strong. I can see 2 points of view very strongly. So I definitely have a distinction between having and being. Um, I think how it's played out for me. It's interesting. I don't know. It will come into it really comes into where you are as a person, who you are with your security and what you believe. You know what I mean? Like if you, let's say that you wasn't even caring about being beautiful, but you was caring about having beauty. And that's what you believe. That's where you're at. So when you walk into a room, you're beautiful because that's how you. Yeah, I'm beautiful. And what you cut, and so you attract attention because that's your level of belief. But if you were the most beautiful person in the world by everybody's standards, but you didn't feel that, you weren't secure in that, you weren't confident in that. I remember watching America's Next Top Model, and this Indian woman was on there, and her culture, they have the light skin, dark skin thing, but this woman, like, so she's dark skinned and gorgeous, like, I mean, beautiful. But because of what people had been saying to her and her skin was dark, she didn't feel good in herself. And it always tripped me out because it's like, oh my gosh, she's stunning, like stunningly beautiful. Like a Disney beauty like that, like out of your mind beautiful, but she didn't feel it and she didn't know it. So I guess I'm saying that to say they're both important, I think, but I don't necessarily think it's always about aesthetics. um I think it can come from how you feel and what you believe.
Hmm.
But I
Okay.
definitely want to focus on my goal. I do like to look my best. Is like if I go out somewhere and I don't like the way I look, it's not gonna be cool. You know what I mean? I do like to feel beautiful and look beautiful to people. Like I wanna feel like, okay, my hair, my clothes, everything is great. But that's important, but more important is to, like, when I walk in the room, am I smiling? When I walk in the room, is someone attracted to my essence of who I am, or the way that I talk to people, or or my inviting, the way I'm inviting, like that's definitely where my focus is. But yeah, I think, who has a rap line about that? Does Biggie? He says something about putting on either cologne or clothes so these females can get up on them. Something he said. Somebody has something like that.
Yeah, you just.
You still gotta attract
What I
bees
know
to the
what
honey.
Nas said when he dresses is never nothing less than guess. so, so with that being said, then, when you talk about those moments of when you feel that you may not be in your best state, or when you step out of the house and things of that nature, and you're not in that state, that leads to pregunta número tres, which is, when was the last time that you cried?
Recently. Let me see. Oh, I had a good cry at the beginning of the year. I say in January. I think that was like a good, healthy release cry. It was really good. Because I don't cry that often anymore. I remember my cousin said to me once, I told him I was going through something, and and I was crying, and he said, "Did it change anything?" And then after he said that, I was able to control my. I used to cry at the drop of a dime. Like I could be in a business meeting and be like, could you hold on?" Like I could just cry. But something about when people say certain words, it can change my paradigm. So when my cousin said, "Did it change anything?" That's when I stopped crying. So I don't cry that much, but I had a good cry at the beginning of the year.
Well, what was it that that precipitated that cry?
I just went through something where I was unfairly treated, and one thing I hate is I don't like to be misunderstood. Who does? I don't like to be misunderstood. I don't like to be unfairly judged, and I don't like to be unfairly treated. And I don't like to be blamed for something that I didn't do. So I guess that was all the three things I said before. So anyway, I kind of went through a situation like that. And so when the situation happened, it didn't get fixed right away. I just had to deal with it. I had to move on and I had to figure things out. And I went through a hard period. I found I had to work at a new place, do a different kind of work than I'm used to doing, on top of feeling rejected and mistreated, even though I knew that I was right. But no one was, I didn't have proof of that. So anyway, by the time January came, I had been validated for everything. I was so happy because yeah, I had went through basically 2 months of hell, but at the end of that 2 months, I had been proven correct. I had been freed. What the whole situation ended up allowing me to be free, and I was able to live in the new year with a new beginning. Like I was like, oh my God, I went through this hell. Oh my God. And I realized you have to go through hell to get to heaven. So I just had this, I was so thankful for vindication and validation and peace and a new beginning. And it all happened at the beginning of the year. So I was thinking it was extra miraculous because it all happened by the time 2016 started. So it was
Awesome.
good. Yeah.
That's what's up. Validation, vindication, and all that good stuff happening in your life. And you know that's funny because we were having a conversation this last week about that when I was asking you to be a guest, and we were having that conversation about what life, like how life takes you through, makes you work at it, and you have to work hard and grind out, and out of all of that hard work comes this beauty at the end of the tunnel, you know, after you've done fought your way through. And it sounds like that's exactly what happened in your experience for you to cry those tears of joy in that moment. And so congratulations
Thank you.
overcoming and rising above. So I guess another question for you would be, what are 3 words that you should know in every language?
Believe, love. I'm so stuck between like friend, God, family, spiritual.
3 words in every language.
Yeah. Believe, love, and good. That's all I'll say.
Believe, love, and good. So you're gonna travel. You're gonna travel around the world, and these are the 3 words that you're gonna need to know: believe, love, and good. I believe, and I love you, and that's good. Okay, cool.
Well, if I might not get what I want, but if I can say those words in any language, then they'll know that my heart is in the right place. They'll
Okay.
know. They might not give me a sandwich, but they'll be like, "She cool."
You say they may not believe you.
They just be like, they won't know what I'm talking about, but they'll be like, "She's our friend," and then that's how I'm gonna get my sandwich if I was hungry.
Okay. Sandwich when you was hungry. You go ahead, girl. You go. So then from there, what scares you?
Whew. Dang, you got me telling my business.
That's the whole purpose of you expressing your
Superman
compassion.
doesn't walk around telling people that he can't be around kryptonite. So let me see how I'm gonna answer this. I'm just afraid. What am I afraid of?
This is about Crescent. This is about so people can get to experience the compassion that resides within you. And if you're not able to be vulnerable, well, my belief is if you're not able to be vulnerable with the world and with your expression, then people will still have a judgment about you regardless. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're not able to be vulnerable and allow yourself to be free and open in whatever environment that you're in, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because the in the world of abundance, being vulnerable and open to that only comes when you have released and you're not holding on and attached to things, and oftentimes within vulnerability, where we choose to be or we choose not to be vulnerable, because then we get attached to how other people may react on how we're particularly feeling at that time. And um, and so through that attachment to how we may perceive how others may feel about us, that usually leaves us even more constricted in the world, because we're not able to let that go, let that judgment go, and allow ourselves to be fully expressive, because we're choosing not to be vulnerable.
Okay.
So,
I'm really good at being vulnerable. I'm really good at all that. I've had to, as I've gotten older, I've learned to be more guarding of my heart. That's what
mm,
I'm gonna say. So, but so what am I afraid of? I'm just afraid of. I'm really, I guess, ultimate failure. Just
mm.
like if I don't I just feel like I'm supposed to do a certain thing. I've been working really hard to do it and getting setbacks, which is, I understand, but like I'm just afraid that what if I don't figure this out? That's all.
So you're afraid of not figuring it out, if I'm
Yeah,
hearing you
of
correctly.
not, yeah, of just not reaching the heights of myself that I think I'm supposed to reach.
Hmm. The heights of yourself. Okay. And so, what about not reaching those heights are you attached to, that scares you so much?
Oh, because I'd be without purpose. Well, I feel like I wouldn't be doing what I was created to do. So I feel like I'd be a disappointment to the Lord. And yeah, that's it. And then I would be to myself and to my mom. Like I just feel like there's things I need to do. And if I don't, I need to do those things. Like period. Like there's things I need to do, and I need to do those things. I'm trying really hard to do them. And if I don't figure out how to get them done, then I'm gonna feel like, what's the purpose? Like
So
what's the point?
let's get a little more specific then. What are these things that you feel you need to do?
I mean, most importantly is just to be an artist, a writer who can fully support herself on her work.
Okay. And so within that, then, so how that's attached to your scared or your fear. So in not doing these things on a particular level, um, you're saying that that's like that validation and vindication that you were speaking of earlier. So if you're not writing and being fully sustainable as um, if you're not, oh, better question, better statement. If you're not fully sustaining yourself from your writing, then you feel as though you're a failure, and that's what you're scared of, because you feel that your mom, the Lord, and some of the other people are attached to the level of your writing, or what comes from your writing, as opposed to you just actually just being that and writing, not attached to a particular sustainability level. You think you would be a failure in
Yeah,
on this earth?
maybe so. I mean, I started to get lost in there a little bit. I think it's more just of um, it's not just sustainability. It's really purpose driven. And then so I'm on this path and I'm trying to fulfill a purpose that I really believe in, and I've had validation in this purpose. So I really believe it's my purpose. It's just that on these journeys and pathways lately, a lot of bumps in the road which I know occur, and I'm just saying that if I don't, I won't feel aligned. Like I just won't feel aligned if I'm not the person and artist that I want to be. I'll just feel like I mean, like anybody. I mean, like a singer who doesn't sing, or anybody that, or even a construction person that's not doing construction. Like if something is burning in your heart for you to do, it's hard to separate. I don't want to be separated. Like this is my hobby. I don't think writing is my hobby. I think writing is my gift, and I don't want to separate myself from, like I could be a teacher right now and then write every once in a while and I will not be happy, and I know that for sure because I've done it. That doesn't I'm not happy in that place. I'm happy. I can be working as hard as a dog, getting no sleep at all, but when I'm creating art, it's the best kind of tired to be. It's the best sad, it's the best happy, it's the best work, labor, it's just the best life that I want to live. So if I
I
don't
hear
do
you.
that, I'll feel. If I don't reach that, then I'll feel. I'm afraid of not reaching that. Basically.
And I hear you and I feel you on that 1,000%. And I was in a very similar place. I would say a couple months back, right? Because like at this particular time, like my mission and what I feel as though I was born to do is to inspire people to be the happiest that they can possibly be, right? And and I remember that for a particular point, it was like, all right, if that's my mission, then how do I show up as that in the world? And then I started validating like how I'm showing up as that in the world based on a whole bunch of things that were outside of me, and started placing or putting more value into, all right, well, I'm not inspiring people in this world because I'm not on stage speaking in front of thousands of people, or I don't have these videos out every day, or all these little goals that I had attached to that. But then there was a particular point in time when I had to really take a look at and said, all right, well, if my mission is to inspire people to be the happiest that they can possibly be, and I make sure that I spend every day and every waking moment of my life to do that, then these external goals of fame and fortune, and of fame and fortune, because that's what we're talking about right here. I think, on a certain level, we're talking about notoriety in being validated by others for what it is that we do. And I had to start really thinking about, like, you know what? I do that every day, because case in point, like when I was speaking to you last week, that was me living my purpose by you saying that, oh man, I feel better after our phone call. That was me living my purpose. Didn't have to be validated by anything outside of me, or whether, oh well, damn, I didn't get a chance to record that call so I could put it out there to the public so that way I could get booked off of that speech. By you giving me an opportunity to do one of my first speeches to the youth when you were working at that foster home place, that was me living my purpose, and it didn't matter who was able to validate that out externally in the world. I know that I was there and I touched those kids. Wait, hold on. I should say that in a different manner for those. I know I was there and I inspired those kids. I didn't touch them
Mhm.
or do any pedophilia,
Mhm.
but I
Mhm.
was able to touch their spirit by the
Mhm.
words that I had. And so once I started stop putting my validation on things that were outside of me, and then just was living my purpose of, like, the person that is right next to me or in front of me or around me, and just started inspiring people in my environment, I started noticing how more opportunities started stopped placing this outside of myself. And so I know that we just had some technical difficulties, and Crescent has just fallen off, but she will be getting right back on in this moment. And so the thing is, goals are goals are things that we need and are necessary to continue us on our journey. But when we start placing more value in the results of those goals than we do within the journey, that's when the possibility of us missing out on opportunities are, because goals are just like the carrot to get us going towards what life is really supposed to be giving us. And I think a lot of unease happens in the world because of the amount of value that we place on these goals, and whether we accomplish them or not, we feel less than when we don't accomplish the particular goal that we have set out for ourselves. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't accomplish our goals. What I'm saying is the level of importance that we attach to the goals should not supersede the journey that one takes and the lessons that one learns on the road towards obtaining that goal. And that's what life is really and truly all about, is about the journey, not the actual destination. And so as we
Okay.
continue to do that, welcome Black Crescent.
Yeah, but I understood what you were saying, but I definitely have a calling. Like I definitely, I'm just, I'm not waking up saying, "Oh, I want to be Beyonce." Like that. It's just not like that. Like I have a calling. I have a vision that I keep getting, whether I want to or not, and I am trying to answer that call. So it's less about validation. It's less about fame. It's less about fortune. I really think what we're created to do is meant to sustain us. Like you should be able to eat. You should be able to sleep. You should be able to bathe off of what you do. I mean, that's a part of life. And I think God gives you your gift so you can do that. You know what I mean? So I definitely expect and want and desire my gift to provide for me, to provide for my mother, and to inspire people like I've always done. I've been doing this. It's just that I haven't been able to make it my sole goal to so to speak. So I am. I want to be a produced Broadway playwright. I like that I know that now. I like that I know about the MacArthur Fellowship, because I am not just doing, oh dig it. I hope I didn't
So we
mess
have
that
some more technical difficulties happening here in this
up.
world.
Okay.
It's getting
Yeah. I'm
all right.
definitely
Welcome back.
doing this for a reason. So that's what I'm saying. I'm definitely doing it for a reason. And
I hear
maybe
that.
maybe I won't make millions, but I do expect to buy my house off of it. I do expect to buy my car off of it. I do expect to be able to visit my mom off of it. Like I have some expectations for it for sure.
Now that is another part of the conversation, right? Because I have this thing that I've been saying about expectations. You know, because um, usually when we expect something, we usually don't get what it is that we expected. It's either less than or more than what it is that we actually expected, right? And so when we get attached to those expectations, we or I haven't left my when I was attached. I'll instead of the we, when I was attached to certain expectations, I know it left me deflected. Whether it was better or worse. And I noticed when I stopped expecting something and was just doing just doing what it is that I felt that I needed to be doing and not expect anything in return from that which it was that I was doing, I usually had a way more impactful experience than when I went in expecting something. Because when you go in expecting something, you're strategizing and da 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 to get what it is that you expected, and it doesn't leave you open to be malleable and flow with what's going on. And I
Well,
think,
maybe a better word is intention then.
hmm, hmm,
I don't think anything's wrong. I actually don't. I mean, it's such a fine line. It depends, and like I said, it all goes back to your belief. Like I could never be how Kanye is. Like yeah, I mean, my ego. I can't even work like that. I have to work like I'm just a humble vessel. Like that's the only way I can work. I have to be like basically damn near like how do I write every time I start a new project? I forget how to do it, you know. But and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's the way he gets his work done. That's the way he gets done with what he wants to get done. So I understand like expectation, but like let's say someone's dating and they don't expect to have someone treat them nicely. They don't expect these certain things, how they're gonna be talked to, how they're gonna live. I try to teach my youth that like how do you want to live? Like you say you want all this, but do you know how much rent costs? Do you know how much a car costs? Do you know how much insurance costs? Like if you don't go into planning your life with a full intention, then you're like you may do well, you may not. So I just have been trying to be more strategic, and yes, I do expect it, and my intention is to get some things done, just because again it's my calling. Like no matter what I do, I could close my eyes right now and still hear and see exactly where I'm supposed to be and who I'm supposed to be. And it may be greater than that or it may be lesser than that. But you know what? I'll know because I'll be satisfied. I've had that feeling of even when I put Six Letters in Harlem up, I didn't know what was gonna happen. All I kept saying is just let me do my best and let me get it done. And it turned out to be way more than what I thought it would be, but I was satisfied in my soul. So that's what I'm going after.
all right, can't get no satisfaction. All
Mm-hmm.
right, and so my next question, and this is question number 6. So we're almost at home
It
base.
is. I thought
Um,
we are at 7.
no, we haven't gotten to 7. Those were sub questions. Those were yeah, questions that were brought about after the initial question was asked. Those were follow-ups. And
Mm-hmm.
so question number 6 is, and I think we started touching on it, is what makes you happy?
Good writing days, best friends, and um, romance.
All right, cool. And then we'll go into, just so we can finish up on time. Um, what is your purpose? I think you spoke upon it, but just so everyone is clear, what is your purpose, Crescent?
To tell the world stories of beliefs and through writing,
Okay.
or journeys of belief through writing.
Journeys of belief through writing is what your purpose is. And that's what's up. And um you've made it.
I made it.
You have
Seventh
made it
heaven.
through. You have made it through the human experience and have
Yes.
given the world an opportunity to compassionately get to know Crescent.
Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
Crescent. No other thing.
No,
Just the
don't
one
say. See,
word.
that's
It's
the
just
other
Crescent.
problem. See, if I say that, people put just in front of crescent.
Okay, no, it is Crescent.
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 It is.
It
Yes.
is. It is.
Yes.
You are Crescent. Ain't
Crescent.
nothing else to it.
Yes. Right.
Crescent.
You got the head and the mouth. Yes. Crescent. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Crescent, we'd like
Mhm.
to thank you for joining us on the human experience and allowing the world to compassionately experience the being that is Crescent. And I thank you once again from the bottom of my heart for being able to um, provide me with a life altering moment for me. And I truly, I don't know if I've ever continued. Well, I did say thank you, but I don't know if I was really able to get down to the bottom of the heart, really express the amount of gratitude that I have for you giving me that opportunity to speak to those youth and and live my purpose. And I thank you once again for uh, sharing six letters from Harlem with the world, so that I would be able to um, get the opportunity to experience your gift in this world.
Mm.
And I definitely hear you, feel you, and believe in you as an artist. And I know that you definitely have volumes to offer the world. And thank you once again from the bottom of my heart for being on the Human Experience. And before you go, any last words? How can the people get in contact with you? What you got new that's coming up, and all of that good stuff?
Right now we're trying to make art happen. That's what we're trying to do. So really I'm on the fellowship trail trying to get into these. I initially came out here for television writing. Do I look here at this camera or at you?
You look wherever you want, because every angle
Okay.
of you is beautiful, girl.
Oh, thank you. That's perfectly said. Well, yeah, I just literally just started Twitter. But if you want to reach me there, I'm at written by, which is WRTN by Crescent. And then on Instagram, I'm the whole word written by Crescent. Basically trying to make everything written by Crescent. That's my Gmail too, written by Crescent at Gmail. Other than that, shoot, I'm hustling. That's it. That's all I can say is I'm hustling, trying to make some things happen.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
and and I do want to tell you, thank you again. I will say thank you. You got me up on the video. Thank you. Got me I'm with it. What's it called? I don't know. What's the word that says I know I'm like tech savvy right now. Anyway, right now I'm tech savvy and I thank you for that. And I really appreciate you creating the human experience and asking your friends and people you know to come out and be a part of it. This is how it all starts. This is how everything happens. So great job in going in the direction of your purpose. This is your purpose, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. For sure it
So
is.
so great job doing that. That's all it takes is to do it. Really, just do it. So thank you and thank you everyone whoever's watching this and maybe to myself years from now. Thank you girl for making your dreams come true and answering the call.
Word up, word up, word up, word up. And so, world, please know that you are loved, and that um, you deserve to be heard, seen, and felt. And if you cannot find a venue to, or find someone who wants to hear, see, or feel you, please know that I am here to do just that. Um, because through the hearing, seeing, and feeling um, of you, uh, you validate my existence, whatever level that is. And so, thank you so much for joining us at the Human Experience. Be peaceful, be happy, be dynamic, and be love. Deuces.
Deuces.